Hi, and welcome to On Stage with This Murder Was Staged. I'm your host and high school teacher, Erin Boni. We are here to promote a new production put on at PTHS and the final one for the year, the spring play. Today I have several guests I will interview, but I want to alert you that you should come and attend to the high school stage from May 9th to 11th. So first up, I have my director, Jeanie Cygrymus. Welcome.
Hello, hi.
So talk to me about, I love murder mysteries. That's all pretty much I read. I'm a Sherlock Holmes, Murder, She Wrote from the 80s and 90s, like all those things. So I'm really excited. But how did you find this show to choose it?
So I think this might be the third year that we've had a play reading committee.
Oh, nice.
So I gave the kids 4 different scripts, very different.
Okay.
And then we gathered together, and what I like about this is they get to see what a director has to think about.
Okay.
Will it get people in the seats? Like, is there enough parts for the boys and the girls that we have? Like all of that kind of stuff. And we answer those questions and then discuss. And they all really like this one because it's funny. It's a comedy as well as a murder mystery. Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So how does it play on some of those like Sherlock Holmes tropes, or even you figure you have more modern ones like Monk, and a lot of them have quirks to them, right? Your main detectives usually have something about them.
Yes.
Even a new show on Netflix that I watched, a short series called The Residents.
Okay.
They brought in a detective who her interest was birds. I mean, random stuff, right? So can you tell me anything about some of the quirky characters?
Yes. So the director, so it's a show within a show. Yes.
Okay.
So the director of the show is just over the top, So he says it's the theater, that's how he talks.
Right.
And he just rubs people the wrong way. Yeah. And nobody likes him.
Okay.
But he is so funny in the way he delivers those lines and everything. So yeah, he's probably the most quirky. But then we also have a character who just says that he gets by because of his face. Yes, so he's more a little bit into himself, but also kind of out there, so yeah.
So not necessarily the detective tropes, but maybe the actor and director typecast.
And I can't say too much.
No, I don't know. I don't want to give in. I don't want you to give anything away. Okay, but that makes it more interesting as well, right? For it to be funny, comedic, as well as sort of a mystery then as well within the stage.
For sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I know you're going to talk about what has been most challenging, but let's talk about challenging and then rewarding about this particular production.
Okay. Challenging is that the spring play is always more of a challenge because you come off the musical and we have a spring break always in that in that time frame. And then this year the kids all went, the music department, to Dollywood. Yeah. So we had spring break, 1 rehearsal, Dollywood, 1 rehearsal, and then the power outage. Yes. So it was very challenging, but everybody rose to the occasion, and they learned their lines while they were off, and rewarding, I think, is I have 2 actors I've never worked with before, and they're seniors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool just to see them come and want to do a show. They had been in Romeo and Juliet, but I didn't get to work with them. But so it's really cool to work with them, and just all the regulars that I just have grown to love, So, yeah.
So you are the Thespian director as well as, in charge of Thespians as well as directing shows.
Yes.
Talk to me about, I think something that, given what you said about the seniors, that some kids don't know is you don't necessarily have to be part of the Thespian troupe to try out for things, right? I mean, Thespian troupe's kind of like running track and lettering, right?
Yeah.
So you do so many things all year, but I don't know, I guess what advice would you give to kids who maybe want to pop in and out, or just want to give it that? At least I feel like seniors get that kind of confidence at the end and go, well, I got nothing to lose. So,
right.
So what kind of advice would you give to kids who maybe just don't want that super commitment, but want to try their hand at stuff like going forward next year?
I think, just go for it. It's funny because the word that everybody uses about thespians is that we're inclusive. And we are very welcoming. And I'm reading the senior essays for scholarships, and they all are saying that, like when they walked in freshman year, and all that. So I think you'll find that it's a very welcoming place. You don't have to be the star. If you just want to give it a go and be in the ensemble, it's wonderful. But what's funny is you don't have to join thespians. But most people do once they get there.
But I was just saying, like, for those kids who feel like, oh, well, it's too late for me
No,
to
it's never
join
too
something.
late.
Okay, so any time in the year, any production, they can try out, open tryouts for
Absolutely.
everything.
And one of our thespians who is being inducted into the International Thespian Society is a senior.
Okay.
So it can be any grade. We earn points and
And like I said, to be a part of something specific, you have that. But
we have to remember too, like there's a lot of backstage stuff, hair and makeup, and the run crew and lights and sound, and so you don't have to be on stage. So
a lot of ways I think the kids can get involved.
Yes.
Aw, thank you so much
You're
for being
welcome.
here with me
Thanks
today.
for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
And when we come back, I'm going to talk to some of the actors about their position in the play. Hi, welcome back. I am here with Emma and Maura, two of actually our detectives from This Murder Was Staged. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Awesome. So first, I guess tell me individually or collectively about your character. And I'll start with Maura.
So we both play the detectives, and my detective's name is Detective Kendra Drake. And I feel like she's more of the unserious one when it comes to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say you're definitely more like,
She's here for the vibes.
Yeah, you're here for the vibes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine's Detective Penelope Blake, and I would say, we work together because you're more like on the loose side of it, and I'm kind of the one who like reins it back in. And it's like, okay, we actually
So not necessarily
figure
good
something
cop,
out.
bad cop, more
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so maybe a little bit that way.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, serious versus non-serious.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about what might be challenging about doing not just a comedy, but a whodunit as well as within a comedy.
I think for this, at least for us, because the reveal at the end, big twist.
Big twist. Got to come to the show to see it.
Of course. But like for us, it's just the only like challenging part really was like getting the character right at which point in the story you're at.
Okay.
To like fit with what's going on.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
They're very dynamic characters. Like they change based on like who we're interviewing or like what what's going on, and like at different points, different things happen with the investigation itself, and we have to like adapt to fit that. So I would say that's the most interesting part. I guess is it like it's very fluid. You can't just stay one stoic character the entire time. It adapts with the show, so it's fun.
That's awesome. I'm assuming it's modern day. So talk to me about what is your ensemble? What is your detective wear?
Oh, it's so good.
Or is that going to give anything away?
So good.
No.
It's so
Okay.
perfect.
So you could start.
Of course, we have the trench coat.
That's what I was going to ask.
We
You have
both
the
have
trench
trench
coat?
coats.
Yes.
Of course. And then you have the tie.
We both have like white button-ups. Mine has a tie, and yours has like a little
thing.
little roughly bow thing, and then we both just wear like black dresses.
Very typical, like
Very
detective.
Yeah, I would say
So very professional.
very professional.
Yeah.
I would say we look. You would recognize that
You'd
we're
say we're
detectives.
detectives.
Like you would know by looking at us that like there's the detective.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And as I had said to Ms. Cygrymus, I am a huge detective fan, and like that's my, if you could do anything in the world, which I'm not smart enough other than teach, would be to be a detective, because I just love how people solve the mystery and everything like wraps up. And I think I'd look pretty good in a trench coat.
Yeah.
I could
can
wear
rock-
that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's awesome. All right, so talk to me about how would you promote this show to our audience here, and it's like, to tell them why should they come see This Murder Was Staged?
I think this play is genuinely so funny. It is hilarious. Like, just to be a part of, like, being on stage, it's hard not to laugh. Like, just be like, this is perfect. I love it so much.
Yeah, especially with us, because me and Maura, our characters, since they're the detectives and they're getting all the information, as the story's being played out, we don't leave. So we're constantly on, like, taking notes. So it's hard because it's so funny and you have to stay in character. And they'll, like, say a line that normally when you're backstage you can, like, chuckle at because you're like, that's really funny. But we're on there just like, It's just,
that's about
there
right.
are times that we try and bake. But I would also say that, like, it's not it's not, like, just a murder mystery. It's also a comedy. Like, there are so many details in it and parts in it that make it different. There's a twist in, like, the beginning of Act 1, end of Act 1, beginning of Act 2, end of Act 2. Like, there's a lot. It keeps you involved. It's a very interactive show, which is another reason I like about it, because at times unconventional people are involved in it, which is fun.
Yes, we'll
Now,
say
is there
that.
any-
Without giving it away.
Nice. Is there any breaking of what they call the fourth wall? Like, is there any?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of that. So
oh.
in the
I feel like
interactive
talking
state, there's a
directly
lot of
to
talking to
the
audience.
audience.
Yes.
Very cool. I always find those kind of like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. Very entertaining, and like you said, a way to reach out to the audience.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing your detectives on my plans to come to the Friday night show.
Ooh,
So
yay.
I'll look forward to seeing your acting and your attire.
Oh, of course.
On Friday.
We'll,
Thank you guys.
We'll let you try on the. We'll let you try on the
Try
coat.
on the trench
try on the
coats.
trench
All
coat.
right.
Get the
That
vibe
sounds
for it.
good. So thank you guys, and we will be back with a couple more of the actors from the show right after this break. Welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion about This Murder Was Staged, and I have two more actors with me. I have Juliana and Bree. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So, of course, the first thing I'm going to ask you is to discuss your character. We had the two detectives on, and so I understand you guys are part of the play within the play. Okay,
Right.
so tell me about
Yeah,
that.
so the two of us are actors in the show within a show. My actress plays the detective in the show within the show. It gets quite confusing.
Yeah.
But her name is Kira Gimbel, and basically her whole thing is she just wants to be the lead of the show, and that's what she's supposed to be, but she just feels kind of ripped off by the director. And
Okay. So you are like the fake detective.
Correct.
And so then you have the real detectives coming and obviously dealing with a real crime
Right.
within your fake thing. So it'll be interesting to see, do you feel upstaged by them, or are you trying to mimic them? Or do I have to come
you'll
see
have
the
to
show?
come see the show.
Okay, very good. And Bree, tell me about your character.
So her name's Susanna. She's also one of the actors in the show. It's a little bit challenging because she is like a little bit of an older, like rounded out character, but at the same time she's a little bit bitter that like she doesn't have a lead role.
So she's been around a long time, but she doesn't have the clout to have the actual size of the role that she wants. Okay, very cool. All right, talk to me about, were you guys part of the crew that got to choose this play?
I was not.
I
Okay.
was a part of the crew.
Okay, so what did you, because Mr. Cygrymus had mentioned that was something they did with more recently with the spring plays. What made you choose this show then, I guess?
So in the past, like in recent years, we've done a lot of classic shows. Like we did Frankenstein and Little Women for our fall and spring shows last year, and then for our fall play this year, we did Romeo and Juliet. So it was a lot of like more like serious shows, and a lot of the play reading committee agreed that we wanted something a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more funny, especially like the seniors. They just wanted something a little bit more lighthearted for their last show.
Right, and I think in the spring too. I mean, I think it's one thing to do Romeo and Juliet, do something intense in October. I think by the time you get to May, right, you just kind of want to have something that's just really fun, and something you can dig into. Yeah. All right, so talk to me about how a whodunit lends itself to comedy.
Well, all of the characters in the show are just kind of ridiculous. Like Mrs. Cygrymus was saying before, they're all just so over the top. And so that's what makes this more of a comedy, even though like you would think it's a serious situation because it's a murder mystery.
Right.
But just the personalities of all of these characters are so different and they all clash together. And so that's what just makes this more of a comical show.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like Juliana said, like there's a lot of like different characters in the show, a lot of different personalities, but the thing about everyone is that everybody has a motive. And so that's one of the things that makes this show really interesting.
Right. And like you said, I think my detectives mentioned that at the end of each act there were all kinds of twists and turns. But I think what was interesting that they mentioned as well, and I guess you guys can attest to this, is that none of the characters are static. And I find that interesting because usually with a comedy or even with a whodunit, right, there's always the guy that, you know, that like you feel like the guy that gets killed sometimes deserves to be killed because he was like mean to everybody and everybody has a motive and everybody kind of has like their part. So do you feel that your characters as well have like an arc and transition with some of the like through the play, or are they still pretty like flat?
I feel like my character, I feel like her motives stay the same throughout the show, and she has like a very clear path and direction that she sticks through, and like intentions that she sticks through throughout the entire show. Okay. But I think she still can surprise you at times, so it's definitely something to watch for.
Okay. And what about your character?
I definitely feel like doesn't have like a very big like, she's kind of static in a way, but she has the same like motives and everything, but yeah.
Gotcha. Very good. All right, and kind of our last thing here is promote the show in your own words. Why should we come see this weekend This Murder Was Staged?
This show is hilarious. When we did the read through, we were all like reading our lines and everything, and I just could not stop laughing. And that's how everyone kind of was too. There's just so many random things that don't even really make sense in the show, but they just make you laugh so hard that I think it's definitely worth the watch.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a really funny show. We were all just cracking up at read-throughs, and we have like very good chemistry as a cast.
Nice.
And so that we all like feed into each other's energy and stuff like that.
Right. And I think that's something else that was good that you guys did the read-through too, you know, prior to, because you could probably see who would be good at this, who would be good at that. Do we have, you know, the characters that have the chops for all those things? That's wonderful. Thank you both for being here with me today.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Okay, now audience, it's your job to come out this weekend, and May 9th, 10th, 9th and 10th at 7 p.m. or the 11th at 2 p.m. and come see This Murder Was Staged on the Peters Township High School auditorium stage. Thank you so much for joining me with On Stage, and we'll see you next time.